If you're planning a painted cabinet project but are maybe a little intimidated by the complexities and unforgiving nature of conventional cope and stick door joinery, you're in the right place. Today we're going to look at a simplified method of building painted cabinet doors from affordable materials and an assembly technique that uses no clamps at all. All this and more right now here on Shop Tales and Lore. If you're a serious do-it-yourselfer or home workshop enthusiast looking for a variety of helpful content in one place, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell to be notified whenever we release a new video. And if we've helped you today, please take a moment to like, share, and comment below. It helps these videos reach more folks, and your comments help others as well. Thanks again. Traditional 5-piece frame and panel hardwood cabinet doors are beautiful, but can be challenging and time-consuming even for the most skilled home shop enthusiast. In painted applications, they can pose even more problems, like the telltale cracks that appear in the finish over time as the solid wood in the frame and panel expand and contract. This is why MDF doors have been popular for painted cabinets for some time now, but there are a lot of differing opinions about the best construction method. For a while, we tried a one-piece approach, pocketing out material from the door's face to give the appearance of a separate panel. This came with a couple of drawbacks. First, removing all that material from one side created an imbalance of tension in the workpiece, and a high percentage of these doors came out badly warped. Secondly, even though our CNC router uses highly accurate ball screw technology on all three axes, we could never completely solve the problem of these tool shadow lines, which always telegraphed through the paint no matter how much we sanded. After experimenting with different materials, we finally settled on a two-piece approach using high-density MDF for the frames and an MDF core 3/8 maple plywood for the panels. This 3/4-inch high-density MDF from Roseburg Forest Products, marketed under the trade name Armorite, is actually intended for exterior applications. It machines well, and while cut edges still take a little effort to produce a smooth finish, it's nowhere near as problematic as painting conventional medium-density fiberboard. These doors can be readily built with handheld power tools, and we'll talk more about those techniques in a minute, but we thought the clearest way to demonstrate the whole process would be to walk through the milling steps in the order we do them on the CNC. This initial cut is made with a 1/2-inch diameter spiral compression bit. It defines the panel rabbet location and the area where the frame will be separated from the waste material in the middle. By the way, all of these cuts are made from what will become the back surface of the door. The next step uses a 1/4-inch spiral compression bit to help reduce the radius of the inside corners and to cut through the material along the edge of the rabbet. This creates the final width of the rabbet and separates the waste section from the door frame. Next, a 1/8 spiral downshear bit reduces the corners to a 1/16 radius. As we'll see in a moment, the result will be practically indistinguishable from a square corner. Finally, the frame is cut to its finished size, again using the 1/4-inch compression bit. Here's the completed frame after some light cleanup sanding. The width and depth of the rabbet are sharp and uniform, and the corners are clean and virtually square. If that tiny 1/16 radius is an issue, it can easily be taken out with a little gentle sanding prior to assembly using a sharp-edged sanding block. Okay, so now you've got a couple of frames and panels to glue up. You just grab a few blocks and a handful of small clamps and you're all set. But what if your project involves, say, 24 doors and drawer fronts? Well, until my son recently came up with the assembly method we're going to look at next, I would have said you just have to budget however many days it will take to rotate all of those doors through your supply of clamps. But not anymore. In fact, you can just leave those clamps hanging in the rack. At the heart of the system are two basic components. One is a supply of blocks of uniform thickness that, when placed on the backside of two opposing doors, will leave enough of a gap to apply pressure against both panels. To supply that clamping pressure, we cut out a large supply of these C-shaped clips from 3/16 masonite. The notch in the middle is exactly the same as, or slightly under, the total thickness of the stacked doors and support blocks combined. These were cut out on the CNC, but you could get the same result on the bandsaw, scroll saw, or even a fine-tooth handsaw. Now let's see the method in action. These little ketchup bottles from the dollar store make a great glue dispenser for small areas like the rabbets in these door frames. We'll brush the glue bead just a little to minimize squeeze out on the front face of the panel. Make any adjustments necessary to center the panels, then position the blocks where you want to apply clamping pressure. Place the doors on the blocks back to back and add the clips. Try to center each clip over a spacer block for the best result. If you do have squeeze out on the face of the door, here's a tip for dealing with it. Credit for this little trick and a shout out go to Next Level Carpentry, who had it published in Woodsmith magazine many years ago. Take a plastic straw and cut one end at an angle. It doesn't have to be a severe angle, just enough to produce a point. In corners or right angle joints, this does a great job of removing fresh or slightly skimmed over glue. It's also useful for smoothing a bead of caulk in tight spaces. Now let's take a minute to talk about ways to mill these doors with conventional power tools. If a blank the size of the finished door is pre-cut from the 3/4 MDF, then the panel rabbet could be shaped and the center waist section removed using any of a number of commercial frame-style routing jigs, like this ProGrip system by Fortune Extendables Corporation, or a similar setup could be built in the home shop. After the rabbet is shaped and the center cut free from the frame, then it would only be a matter of squaring up the inside corners to complete the frame. Either way, whether your shop is high-tech or old-school, this is a simplified, efficient way to produce painted cabinet doors with beautiful results. Thanks for watching.